हरे कृष्णा। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back again to the 6th day of part 3 of this course, Rediscovering Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So we have been discussing about the limbs of devotional service, in which we have already completed 35 limbs. Yesterday we covered 31 to 35. So the 31st limb that we saw was Paricharya. Paricharya means to render humble menial service to the Supreme Lord, to treat him like the king and treat oneself as a menial servant to the Supreme Lord, that is Paricharya. And then we discussed about Geetam, the 32nd limb is singing for the pleasure of the Lord. 33rd is Sankirtanam. Sankirtanam means Nama Leela Guna Adinam Uchair Bhasha to Kirtanam. Kirtanam means loud chanting of the Nama, Guna, Leela, etc. like that. Then we saw examples of all three, and then we saw Japa. Mantrasya sulagu uchcharo japa iti abhidiyate. What is japa? Japa means a very soft chanting of the mantra is called as japa. We saw some examples for this. And the last limb that we saw was Vigyapti. Vigyapti means entreaty, and entreating the Supreme Lord, trying to please Him through prayers. And we saw three kinds: Samprarthanatmika, Dainya Bodhika, and Lalasamayi. So, Samprarthanatmika prayers are offered by sadhakas who are aspiring for their cherished goal, and Dainya Bodhika prayers are presenting one's fallen condition in order to attract the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and Lalasamayi prayers are prayers offered by very exalted devotees with deep longing for acquiring their object of desire. So in this way, we saw examples of all these three types of prayers: Samprarthanatmika, Dainya Bodhika, and Lalasamayi. So this is where we ended last time. So now we will continue with our with the 36th limb, which is called as Stavapata. Stavapata means reciting compositions of praise. So what is this Stava? Srila Rupa Goswami says, Prokta Manishibir Gita Stavarajadaya Stavaha. He says, he gives some examples. He says Gita, Bhagavad Gita is an example of Stava. And there is another part in the Gautamiya Tantra called as Stavaraja. So these two are, Gita of course we know it is quite famous, but Stavaraja also is supposed to be quite famous, but as you know I have never heard. So these two he says are examples of Stava. And Srila Jiva Goswami says the Gita is called Stava because its contents glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Stava means compositions of praise. So Gita is called Stava because its contents glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that sense. So some examples, one example from the Skanda Purana. So he says, Shri Krishna Stava Ratno Gair Yesham Jihvatvalankrita Namasya Muni Siddhanam Vandaniya Divaukasam. He says, Muni Siddhanam, the perfected sages, Diva Okasam. Diva is heaven, Okasam means residents, Diva Okasam means the Devatas. Namasya Vandaniya, the perfected stages and the Devatas worship and respect Whom do they worship and respect? Yesham jihvatu alankrita. Those whose tongues are ornamented by what? Shri Krishna's tava ratna ogaihi. Oga is ocean, Ratna is jewels. Ratna Ogaihi means by the ocean of jewels. What is compared to an ocean of jewels? Sri Krishna's Tava. Compositions praising or glorifying Krishna are compared to an ocean of very precious jewels. And one whose tongue is ornamented by such precious jewels, such persons are respected and glorified by even the greatest of the sages and the greatest of the demigods. Like that. So then, another verse he quotes from the Narasimha Purana. Narasimha Purana says, Stotraistavaischa devagre yastauti madhusudanam sarva papa vinirmukto vishnu lokam avapnuyat. Stotraihi, by various stotras, and stavaihi, by various compositions of glorifications. Deva agre, in front of the Supreme Lord. Yaha stauti, one who chants Madhusudanam. He who praises Yaha stauti Madhusudanam, one who praises Lord Madhusudan through the stotras and stavas. What is the result? Sarva papa vinirmukto, he becomes cleansed of all the sins. Vishnu lokam avapniyat, and he goes back to Vishnu loka or Vaikunta. So in this way, Narasimha Puran glorifies those who glorify the Supreme Lord through the compositions of praise called stava, like that. Then the 37th limb is called as Naivedya Aswadaha, tasting the remnants of the deity. So he quotes a verse from the Padma Purana. Naivedyamannam tulasi vimishram visheshata pada-jalena siktam yoshnati nityam purato murarehe prapnoti yajnayuta koti punyam. He says, Yaha ashnati nityam, one who eats every day. Purato murare, outside the inner sanctum. One is not supposed to honor prasadam inside the inner sanctum of the Supreme Lord, but outside one can. Naivedyamannam, the remnants of the Lord's food. Visheshata pada-jalena siktam, which may also be sprinkled with the foot wash of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tulasi vimirshram, no food is accepted by Lord Vishnu if it is not offered without tulsi. So therefore, it has to have a tulsi leaf. Prapnoti ayuta koti yagya punyam, he achieves the results of 100 billion sacrifices. Actually, there is no comparison, because 100 billion sacrifices give some pious results. But tasting one morsel of prasadam which has been offered to the Supreme Lord gives a spiritual benefit. But what to do? People who do not have sufficient sukriti, they cannot understand. Swalpa punyavatam rajan vishwasonaiva jayate. So for those who have insufficient spiritual credits, they cannot understand the glory of honoring prasadam. Mahaprasade govinde nama brahmani vaishnave. Swalpa punyavatam rajan vishwasonaiva jayate. So therefore, one has to honor the Lord's prasadam and not enjoy. The mood should be to honor. That is what. But of course, this is very difficult. It's very easier spoken than actually practiced. It's very difficult to practice. As soon as the food comes, we immediately take the mode of enjoyers. That's why especially before honoring prasadam, the prasadam prayers are recommended, very deep prayers actually. How glorious, how rare is a person who can understand the glory of prasadam. Swalpa punyavatam rajan vishwasoneva jayate. For those who have insufficient spiritual credits, they cannot understand the glory of prasadam. Sharira avidya jal. This body is like a net of avidya, ignorance, which means every single limb is actually craving for enjoyment, and which can potentially bind us to this material world. Jiva fele vishay sagure, and these uncontrolled senses can completely drown us in this ocean of material existence. Tara madhye, but of all these senses, jihva, this tongue, ati lobomai, is most greedy, so durmati, and it is completely adamant. It is easy to understand sense gratification in terms of touch and seeing the sinful things, touching sinful objects. These are very easy to understand. But then the tongue is the urge of the tongue is most difficult to control, especially with respect to eating. Tara madhye jiva ati lobomay sudurmati. Take jata katina samsare. And because of this tongue, it becomes very difficult to cross over this ocean of samsara. Therefore, vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam udara upastha vegam. It says jihva udara upastha. They are on the same line actually. And if one cannot control the tongue, then one can certainly not control the belly. And if one cannot control the belly, then it becomes almost impossible to control the urge of the genitals. Then it becomes very difficult. So therefore, one should meditate on the nature of the tongue. But Taramadhye jivati lobomai sudharmati take jeta katina samsare Krishna bado doyamai. But Krishna is the most merciful. Kori bare jihwa jai swaprasadanna dilobai. But he makes the jiva progress very fast by giving his own remnants, prasad. It has to be honored in the right mood. Se anna mrita pav, Radha Krishna gunagav. So one should never one should never accept any act of mercy without glorifying the person who is bestowing that mercy. It becomes very ungrateful. So therefore, the prasadam prayer says that with great gratitude one has to honor that prasadam. Glorifying the Supreme Lord. Radha Krishna Gunagav. Preme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai. And with great love, shout the name of Gaur Nitai. So, in that way, one has to honor the prasadam, seeing it as the Lord's mercy. And one should not discriminate. One should not comment how the prasadam has been prepared. And the person who is cooking should understand that he or she is cooking for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. They should definitely think how it has been cooked. But the person honoring should not think along those lines. He should see that, oh, Krishna's own remnants I am getting to honor. And I can cross over this ocean of material existence just by honoring this prasadam. So in great gratitude, one should honor that prasadam. Therefore, uh, in the life of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had as much faith he had in the potency of the holy name, that much faith he had in actually distributing prasadam. Because he understood that the potency of distributing prasadam in actually transforming the hearts of conditioned living entities and make them favorable towards Krishna's lotus feet. And it is said that actually Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur used to take prasadam with lot of salt. Either that was the way he liked the prasadam, or maybe just to not discriminate between tasty and non-tasty stuff. So, therefore, when it came to honoring his remnants, when his remnants used to be distributed to his disciples, they would always choose the sweet. So, because the other things would be too salty for them. So, therefore, many times Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, after honoring his prasadam, used to mix all the sweet and everything, so that no one can pick and choose in that way. This is just a way of teaching them to see it is mercy of the Supreme Lord. Why are you discriminating? If someone is gifting 1 crore rupees, whether he is giving it in the form of check or money order or cash, how does it matter? Maybe for tax purposes, maybe there is a difference. But otherwise, it is an act of costless mercy. What do you deserve to get that 1 crore rupees? You have not done anything, but the person is giving, willing to give. Will we keep arguing that it is, oh, why you are giving in check? Why not give it in cash? Like that. Anyway, so therefore one has to learn to see every morsel of Eisha Krishna Aswadilo. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he used to Ekadina Shanti Pure Prabhu Advai Tera Gare, Dui Prabhu Bhojane Bosilo. So once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu went to the house of Advaita Acharya to honor prasadam. And what was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood in honoring that prasadam? He said, Dui Prabhu Bhojane Bosilo, Shakkori Aswadana Prabhu Bole Bhakta Gana Eisha Krishna Aswadilo. With great joy, when he put that shak in his mouth, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Eisha Krishna Aswadilo. I can taste Krishna's saliva in this shak sabji. He has definitely tasted it. So he was seeing it in terms of the devotion involved in preparing and offering it. And he could clearly see that it was cooked and offered with so much devotion that Krishna has certainly tasted it. So therefore, the Acharyas have given us these prasadam prayers so that we can deeply meditate and honor the prasadam in that right mood, so that it has tremendous benefit. Just by it not only will give nourishment to our body, pacification of our hunger, but it will help us progress tremendously if only we had the right mood of honoring the prasadam. So therefore, Naivedya Aswadaha, tasting the remnants of the deity. Next is Padya Aswadaha, tasting the foot water remnants of the deity. So he quotes a verse from again Padma Purana. Nadanam nahaviryesham swadhyayo na surarchanam tepi padodakam pitva prayanti paramam gatim. Yesham padodakam pitva, those who drink the foot water of the Lord, te prayanti paramam gatim, they achieve the supreme goal. Na danam, na havihi, na swadhyayo, na surarchanamapi. Even though they may not have performed charity, sacrifices, Vedic study or deity worship, just by honoring the foot wash of the Supreme Lord, one can achieve the supreme goal. Again, if one should have that faith. So if that faith is there, it is possible. Sharire jarjari bhute vyadigraste kalevare aushadam jhannavi toyam vaidyo narayano harihi. So Jannavi Toyam is actually foot wash of the Supreme Lord. It washed the foot of Lord Trivikrama and came down to this material world. So the only solution for all physical troubles, Sharire Jarjari Bhute, the nature of the body is actually, it is very decrepit, it is going to fall for sure. Vyadigraste kalevare. Aushadam Jannavi Toyam. The only medicine is the foot wash of the Supreme Lord Jannavi Toyam. Vaidyo Narayano Harihi. And the real doctor is Krishna. So, and he does not, Krishna does not protect the body. Krishna protects the soul. He protects the consciousness of the living entity. And when he turns it towards his own lotus feet and the living entity becomes absorbed in his lotus feet, then one does not experience the bodily pain. So the pain is directly proportional, the pain experienced is directly proportional to absorption. So wherever we are absorbed, when we lose it, we feel pain, and when we gain in that direction, we feel joy. But when the absorption is elsewhere, then, like for example, there are cricket matches going all over the world. Not right now, this is COVID period, so no one is playing, no one is watching. Let's say if there is a match between Sri Lanka and Australia, so whether Sri Lanka wins, if Sri Lanka wins, there is no joy. If Australia loses, there is no pain. Because we are not absorbed. Our absorption is in our motherland, India. So therefore, as long as India is not playing, then we don't feel either pain or joy. But what if India and Pakistan are playing? Then if India wins, there is joy, and if India loses, there is intense pain. Why? Because the focus of absorption is there. So when the focus of absorption is elsewhere, then whatever may happen to that body or place where our focus of absorption is not there, then we will not feel either joy or pain. So similarly, by drinking the Padya of the Supreme Lord, or by doing any of the devotional activities, Krishna pulls our absorption towards his lotus feet. Therefore, for one who is absorbed in the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he does not get affected by whatever happens to the body, because the focus has shifted from the body. This is why, if you see in the world history, there are many valiant heroes who have fought the battle on the battlefield. And especially in the Sikh history, there are great Sikh heroes who are fighting on the battlefield, and they were so absorbed in fighting that even after their head was chopped off, for a few seconds the torso was still wielding the sword. It's a real thing, and there are many examples of someone was so absorbed in something that their body was bleeding, and still they could not realize. And the perverted reflection of this is also seen in today's day and age, There are examples of people who were so absorbed in either browsing internet or playing video games that they did not even realize that they had not eaten for 1 or 2 days, even though their body was feeling hunger, but they could not realize it, and eventually people have died over their keyboard. So this has happened. So therefore, Krishna need not necessarily cure our bodily ailments. Krishna may sometimes even aggravate our bodily ailments in order to push us towards taking sincere shelter of his lotus feet. So therefore, Sharire jarjari bhute vyadigraste kalevare aushadam jannavi toyam vaidyo narayano harihi. So therefore, one should not worship the Supreme Lord for curing one's bodily ailments. So, but if Krishna can take away our absorption in body and fix it to his lotus feet, it is as good as curing, because the focus has shifted like that. So, this is called as Padya Aswada. Then, Dhupa Saurabhyam. How easy can devotional service be? Smelling an incense which has been offered to the Lord is considered to be a limb of devotional service. Can it become easier than this? If you see Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, do's, Niyama, don'ts, do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Asana, you have to sit in proper Padmasana and different types of asanas. For that you have to choose a place which is in solitude and no one should be there. You have to put a Chailajina Kushottaram. You have to put a cloth, silk cloth over that, a tiger skin, and it should neither be too high nor be too low, and your back should be erect, and your eyes should not be completely closed or completely open. It should be half closed and looking at the tip of your nose. Try doing it, within 30 seconds our eyes will pain like anything. And then you have to regulate your breath, and then all your senses have to be completely controlled, pratyahara. Then dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Sounds extremely difficult actually. Same with other practices also. But bhakti, one can go back home, back to God, just by smelling the incense offered to the Supreme Lord. With faith, of course. That is the caveat. So, he quotes a verse from the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya. Aghranam yadharer datta dhupochishtasya sarvatah tadbhava vyaladashtanam nasyam karma vishapaham. He says, nasyam, the action of the nose. The action of the nose is to smell. Just that action of the nose, which is aghranam, which is smelling, yad harer datta dhupa uchishta sarvatah. Dhupa uchishta is the dhupa or the incense which is offered to the Supreme Lord. When the nose smells that fragrance, just by that act of smelling that dhupa, karma vishapaham, it destroys the poison of karma. Tad bhava vyala dashtanam, inflicted on those bitten by the snake of material existence. So the snake of material existence has bitten that person and injected the poison of karma. But how can that poison go away? Just by smelling the incense which has been offered to the Supreme Lord. That's it. Not only that, Malya Saurabhyam. One may be, wearing a garland is Nirmalya Dhritihi. That is one limb. And if you lift that garland, take it to your nose and smell it, it is another limb of devotional service. just by smelling the garland. He quotes a verse from the Tantra Shastras to establish this point. Agranam gandha pushpader architasya tapodana vishuddhisyadanantasya granasyeha vidiyate. It is said that the nose smelling the flowers and gandha offered to the infinite Lord is the cause of complete purification of this world. The whole world can be purified if people of this world could just smell the garland and the dhupa which is offered to the Supreme Lord. Susukam kartum avyayam, the easiest process, like that. This is the 39th limb, Saurabhyam, Dhupa Saurabhyam and Malya Saurabhyam. Smelling the fragrance that is emanating from the incense that is offered to the Supreme Lord and the garland which is offered to the Supreme Lord. The 40th limb is Shri Murtehe Sparshanam, touching the deity form of the Lord. He quotes a verse from the Vishnu Dharmottara. Of course, this is for those who are qualified to perform deity worship, the Brahmin initiated devotees. They can touch the Supreme Lord. So without that, one is not allowed to touch. So he quotes from this Vishnu Dharmottara Puran. स्पृष्ट्वा विष्णोरधिष्ठानं पवित्रश्रद्धयान्वितः पापबन्धैर्विनिर्मुक्त सर्वान् कामान् अवाप्नुयात्. पवित्रः श्रद्धयान्वितः, the pure and faithful person. Sprishtva Vishnor Adhishtanam. So in deity worship there are particular rules of cleanliness which has to be followed. Even though for chanting the holy name, tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kalah, there is no hard and fast rules in terms of purity and all that. But when it comes to worshipping the deity form of the Lord, there are strict rules. Proper cleanliness standards have to be followed. And Prabhupada, in training his disciples, always insisted and trained them very in rigorous standards of cleanliness while worshipping the deities. So he says, unfaithful person. So if you see the whole of Bhagavatam, all the Falashrutis, if you see, if you can search, go to the folio and search for the word Shraddha or faith in either the English translation or in the Sanskrit word to word or the shloka, you will find that most of the Falashrutis talk about Shraddha because that is the most important component. So if one hears these pastimes with faith, then they get this result, this result, this result. But so that's why here it is mentioned, the pure and faithful person, Sprishtva Vishnu Radhishtanam, who touches the deity of Vishnu, Papa Bandhair Vinirmuktaha, he becomes freed from the bondage of sin, Sarvan Kaman Avapniyat, and all his desires are fulfilled just by that act of faithfully and in a clean state touching the deity forms of the Lord. So touching the deity form, literally every single day, anyone who is worshipping the deity form of the Lord gets an opportunity to touch the deity form, dress the deity form, clean the deity form of the Lord. Wonderful opportunity for progressing in devotional service if only we had the element of faith. So for those who think, oh, so unfortunate, I cannot touch the deity form of the Lord, I am not yet Brahmin initiated, Rupa Goswami says, don't worry. Shri Murtehe Darshanam, seeing the deity form of the Lord is also a very important limb of devotional service. So anyone can take darshan of the deity form of the Lord. There is no It's not that only the Brahmanas can take darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's not like that. Anyone can take darshan of the deity form of the Lord. Actually, in the early days, there were strict rules that those who are not born in highly respectable families, they cannot take darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they could at the most take darshan of the Supreme Lord, like this was in Udupi. You all might know Udupi Krishna deities are there in Karnataka. So the Shudras are the not so elevated persons according to Varnashram. They could at the most take darshan of the Lord through a small window which is behind. They could take darshan from there. But through the front part of the door, only the Brahmanas could take darshan. Once there was a great devotee by the name Kanakadas. So Kanakadas was born in a Shudra family, but he was very exalted devotee, and he used to compose beautiful songs glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Lord was very pleased with him. So um, he had a great desire to take darshan of the front portion of the Lord, but they would not allow him. So he could take only darshan of the back portion of the Lord through the window. So that so he, with great feeling and with great repentance and remorse, he would stand near that window and cry. One day, the Udupi Krishna form of the Lord just turned 180 degrees and started facing the window where Kanaka was standing. With great joy, he took darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all the Brahmanas who were standing right at the door, they were shocked that how is it possible? So just to give darshan to Kanakadas, the Lord turned himself. So it is that eagerness. So one may feel that, oh, the Brahmanas not only get to take darshan of the Lord, they may get an opportunity to worship the Lord. But here was the Supreme Lord who was more pleased with the eagerness to take darshan. So it is not the opportunity that matters, it is the eagerness that matters. It is not the menu that matters, it is the appetite that matters. If one does not have sufficient appetite, then however exquisitely cooked menu it might be, but one will keep asking, oh, what else is there? Something really interesting you tell me. Otherwise, you keep some, maybe I will eat later. That would be. But if appetite is there, then even the most ordinarily cooked food can be relished with great joy. So ultimately, it is the experience, it is not the menu. So when the appetite is there, the experience is joyful. When the appetite is not there, the experience is very not so good. So therefore, and even today, after so many centuries, one can take the darshan of Udupi Krishna only through the window. He is still looking at the window only. So till the Udupi temple is there, um, um, Kanakadas will be remembered, and that window is still called as Kanaka Kindi. Kanaka Kindi means the window of Kanakadas. So one need not feel bad that, oh, I don't have Brahmin initiation, I cannot touch the deity form of the Lord. Taking darshan is a very powerful limb of the Supreme Lord, powerful limb of devotional service. So therefore one need not feel bad. Everyone has equal opportunity to progress in devotional service. It all depends on how much eagerness we have to perform that particular limb of devotional service. So he quotes a verse from Varaha Puran. वृंदावने तु गोविंदम ये पश्यन्ति वसुंदरे न ते यमपुरम यान्ति यान्ति पुण्यकृताम गतिम. So Varahadev is telling his consort Bhumi Devi, O Vasundare, O Bhumi Devi, ye pashyanti Vrindavane tu Govindam, those who take darshan of Govinda in Vrindavan, nate Yamapuram yanti, they will never ever have to go to Yamupuri, hell. Yanti punyakritam gatim, but they achieve pure bhakti, which is the goal of all punya. Because if you say that if you take punya kritam gatim to mean only swarga, then it is not so great, because even by performing pious activities one can achieve swarga. What is the glory of taking darshan of the Supreme Lord Govinda, and that too in Vrindavan? That is nothing so great. So therefore here Srila Rupa Goswami says, Yanti punya kritam gatim means they achieve pure bhakti, which is the goal of all punya. The ultimate goal of all punya is achieving bhakti. Like that. Not just that. Taking darshan of the deity form of the Lord is one limb. Aratika darshanam, when the arti ceremony is going on, when you take darshan of the arti of the Supreme Lord, that is a separate limb of devotional service. So in Skanda Puran, it is mentioned, Kotayo Brahma Hatyanam Agamya Gama Kotayah Dahatyaloka Matrena Vishno Saratikam Mukham. Vishnoho Mukham, the face of Vishnu. Aloka Matrena Sa Aratikam, lit by the light from the Aratik lamp. You know, when they show the lotus feet, they show the navel, and they show the face of the Lord lit by the Arti lamp. When one takes darshan of that face of the Lord, or any part of the Lord for that matter, Dahati, such a person burns. Kotayo Brahmahatyanam, 10 million sins of killing Brahmanas. Even if he had killed 10 million Brahmanas, all those sins are destroyed just by that act of taking darshan of the lotus face of the Lord while the arti is being offered. Agamya Agama Kotayah, and 10 million sins committed in the past and to be committed in the future. All of that is destroyed just by taking darshan of the Lord while the arti is being performed. What an opportunity! What an opportunity to progress towards the spiritual world. The path has been made very, very easy. Aratika darshanam. Utsava darshanam. Utsava darshanam means seeing the festivals. It is said in Srirangam, out of 365 days, some 330 odd days is festival days only. Which means very rare are those days when there are no festivals. Practically every day there is a festival. The Lord comes out, gives darshan to the Utsava Murti, he comes out, then he roams around the various streets of Srirangam, gives darshan. He takes great pleasure in taking darshan of the Supreme Lord due to some festival or other. They just have, every day is a festival day in places like Srirangam, Vrindavan also. And so which means for those who are staying there, every single day they get an opportunity for Utsava Darshanam, seeing the festivals. He quotes a verse from the Bhavishottara Purana. He says, Ratastam ye nirikshante kautikenapi keshavam devatanam gana sarve bhavanti shvapachadayah. Shvapacha adayah means the most low born persons. Ye kautikenapi nirikshante. Kautikenapi means with great joy. Nirikshante, when they take darshan. Ratastam Keshavam, Lord Keshava traveling on his chariot on a festival day. What is the benefit? Sarve Devatanam Ganaha Bhavanti, all of them become associates of the Supreme Lord. Just by taking darshan of the Lord on a festival day. Adi Shabdena Puja Darshanam. And then when a particular kind of worship is going on, when you see that particular worship of the Supreme Lord, that is a separate limb. So he quotes a verse from the Agni Purana. He says, Pujitam pujyamanam va yappashyed bhaktito harim shraddaya modamanastu sopi yoga phalam labet. Pujitam pujyamanam va yappashyed bhaktito harim. He who sees the Lord with devotion, faith and joy, after he is worshipped or while he is being worshipped, attains eternal service to the Lord. Saha api yoga phalam labet. Eternal service opportunity. There are some places where you go, you get an opportunity to see the Lord being dressed. They will keep all the doors open. They will undress the Lord, bathe the Lord, and dress the Lord in front of, like if you see in Vrindavan, in Govardhan, if you see Haridev Mandir. Haridev deity is one of the deities installed by Vajranabh himself. Very beautiful deities. And every day morning, if you go there for Mangalarti around 5 o'clock, the Pujari dresses the deities right in front of you. He bathes the deity form and then dresses them right in front of the audience. Such a wonderful sight to behold. Such an ancient deity carved by Vajranabh himself and installed by him. And they give you darshan so beautifully. So that kind of worship. So when one takes darshan of the Supreme Lord while worshipping, while the worship is going on, he says, Saha api yoga phalam labit. He attains eternal service to the Supreme Lord. Like that. So this is the 42nd limb, which is darshanam, which includes aratika darshanam, then utsava darshanam, and adi shabdena puja darshanam. Puja darshanam, worship, taking darshan of the worship of the Lord is also a limb of the is also a limb of devotional service. Now we come to the 43rd limb, which is called as Shravanam. Of the 9 limbs, this is the first limb. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So he says, Shravanam, Nama Charita Guna Adinam Shrutir Bhavet. What is Shravanam? Nama, the holy name, Charita, the qualities, and guna is qualities, charita is the pastimes, adinam, etc. includes the form also. Shrutir bhavet, hearing them is called as Shravanam. So now he is going to give individual proofs for Nama, Charitra and Guna Shravanam. What are the benefits of them? He quotes a verse from the Garuda Puran to establish the glory of Nama Shravanam. How glorious is hearing about the names of hearing the names of the Supreme Lord, like Vishnu Sahasranamam, like that. These are all 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Hearing them is Nama Shravanam actually. Samsara Sarpadashta Nashta Cheshtaika Beshajam Krishneti Vaishnavam Mantram Shrutva Mukto Bhaven Shrutva Krishna iti Vaishnavam Mantram. Hearing the Vaishnava mantra Krishna. Eka Beshajam. Beshajam means medicine. Eka Beshajam means one broad spectrum antibiotic. Prophylactic medicine. Prophylactic means one medicine for all diseases. Samsara Sarpa Dashta Nashta Cheshta. To counteract the bite of the snake of samsara, Mukto Bhaven Naraha, a man becomes liberated. Kimaushadam Prichasi Muda Durmate Niramayam Krishna Rasayanam Piba. King Kulashekar says, Idam Shariram Parinama Peshalam Patatyavashyam Shatasandhi Jarjaram Kimaushadam Prichasi Muda Durmate Niramayam Krishna Rasayanam Piba. Just hear the Krishna Rasayan. Just drink this nectarian beverage of Krishna, Krishna's holy name, through your ears. It will cure all the diseases. It will cure the root of all disease, which is this samsara. Within samsara, we may be experiencing, some may be experiencing blood pressure, some may be experiencing diabetes, some may be experiencing different kinds of diseases. But if the whole root, the samsara itself is cut, then there is no question of other diseases. Kimaushadam prichasi muda durmate niramayam. Niramayam means eka beshajam, prophylactic medicine, broad spectrum antibiotic, one medicine for all diseases. Because it will shift the focus from body to Krishna. And then whatever is happening to the body, Pashyan apina pashyati. We don't notice it at all. So when the object of absorption changes, then we don't notice, like we discussed. Like in Bhagavatam, talks about the story of the arrow maker. So there was an arrow maker who was very focused in trying to make arrows and weapons, other weapons for the king. And one day, and arrow making might sound very simple, but it is not very simple art, because there are two aspects of arrow making. One is the tip has to be strong but sharp, so that it can penetrate the target. And the arrow has to be so designed that the center of gravity is at the right place. Because if the center of gravity is not at the right place, the arrow will not carry to the target. And if the tip is not sharp enough, the arrow will not penetrate the target. So therefore it's a very important art. And he was moreover he was doing it for the king. If there is any mistake, then his life is at stake. So one day he was making an arrow and he was completely absorbed in making that arrow. And that very personality for whom he was making that arrow was going on a procession. The king's procession was going. Which means, king's procession means king, his ministers and many common public and the band. It was quite noisy, and no one could miss out such a grand procession. But the arrow maker was so absorbed in making that arrow perfect that literally he could not listen that sound at all. It was very difficult to miss for anyone. But he did not hear that sound also, because he was so absorbed. So Krishna creates that alternative absorption. We are not really worried about the disease itself. We are worried about the pain and the anxiety that is caused by the disease. So if Krishna can keep the disease but remove the pain and anxiety. So that way suffering is not there. Suffering is due to pain and anxiety. So if Krishna removes pain and anxiety, even if he may not remove the disease itself, then there is no problem. So therefore we see even very exalted devotees suffering, exalted devotees going through bodily ailments, and externally we may even see that they are suffering, but probably they are suffering due to feeling the separation from the Supreme Lord. We may think that they are suffering because of their bodily ailment. Like we see very great exalted personalities had to undergo physical ailments. We see in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya also, Kuresh and Mahapurna, they were, when they were arrested by King Kulotunga, he literally plugged their eyes without any anesthesia. I mean, if just our fingers touch our eyes in an inappropriate way, it pains for so long. Literally their eyes were plugged. But still, they had such clear consciousness. We will probably die of pain. So both Kuresh and Mahapurna, with their plugged eyes, with empty sockets, they were walking towards Srirangam. Literally, it was such a painful thing. And Mahapurna was going to leave his body. And they were more or less at the outskirts of Srirangam. And Kuresh was begging Mahapurna, please tolerate for a while. Srirangam is right here. You could leave your body in such a holy place. Mahapurna, at the time of his death, he had such a consciousness. He said, no, I will leave my body right here, because if I tolerate my pain till I reach Srirangam to give up my body, then people will think that even if I may be a devotee who is surrendered to the Supreme Lord, my going back home, back to Godhead is dependent on giving up my body in a holy place like Srirangam. So they may not trust the Lord's promise that I will take care of my devotee. Name bhakta pranashyati. They will start doubting Krishna's words. So even though I am so close to Srirangam, but I will give up my body here only, because I have full trust in Krishna's promise. This was the consciousness of a personality at the time of death. So which means definitely his bodily pain is not affecting his consciousness. So Krishna protects the consciousness of the devotee. So therefore, here he is mentioning Krishneti Vaishnavam mantram shrutva mukto bhaven naraha. The man becomes, just by hearing the name of the Lord, the person becomes completely liberated. Charitra Shravanam, hearing the pastimes of the Lord. This is a beautiful verse from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yatra Bhagavata Rajan Sadavo Vishadashayaha Bhagavad Gunanukatana Shravana Vyagrachetasah Tasmin Mahan Mukarita Madhubit Charitra Piyusha Shesha Sarita Paritasravanti Taye Pibantya Vitrishon Drupa Gada Karnais Tannas Prashantya Shanatrad Bayashoka Mohaha. So this is a very beautiful verse. This indicates what should be the nature and mood of hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And if heard in that mood, what is the result of such hearing? He says, Yatra Bhagavata. first thing, it should be in the association of devotees. Because even cricket match, one could always watch in TV, but when in the association of fans who all belong to the same country, it creates. Otherwise, if you see in the stadium, actually the players are very very far away. You can't see them properly. But still, people pay thousands of rupees to go to the stadium and watch, because in the association of like-minded people who all are cheering for the country, it gives a whole different feeling. So similarly, when the glories of the Supreme Lord, His glorious pastimes are heard in the association of of other devotees, it is such a feeling actually. It is so potent when Shravanam is done in the association of devotees. Where there are devotees, what kind of devotees? Sadhavo Vishada Ashayaha, with pure hearts and proper conduct. When there are pure hearted devotees whose conduct is impeccable, and more importantly, Shravana Vyagra Chetasa, who are extremely eager to hear about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavat Guna Anukatana. Bhagavat Guna Anukatana Shravana Vyagra Chetasa, who are greatly eager to hear about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. In such an assembly, what happens? Madhubit Piyusha Shesha Saritam, there is profuse streams of nectar of the pastimes of the Lord. Madhubit Charitra Piyusha Shesha Sarita Parita Sravanti. Parita Sravanti means they flow everywhere. Where do they flow from? Mahat Mukarita, from the mouths of great devotees. It flows like nectar. Where in an assembly of where devotees greatly eager to hear the pastimes are sitting. Sometimes when sometimes I travel to various places for sharing Krishna Katha, and in some temples we speak something, and certain words come out which we ourselves are surprised. How could I speak such a thing? I have never meditated upon it so deeply. How could such a profound thing come out of my mouth? And you see, actually literally the audience empowering the speaker. I have experienced it in my own case. Because I have never meditated upon that subject matter in that particular way, but it comes out of the mouth. Because literally the audience are sitting like Chataka birds, and literally it empowers the speaker. You are literally like a robot. What you speak is not in your hands actually. Literally the audience empower the speaker. Shravana Vyagra Chetasa. Vyagra Chetasa means great eagerness to hear that pastimes, and naturally the speaker becomes very eager to share that message. Piyusha Shesha Sarita Parita Sravanti. Streams of nectar literally flow from the mouth of the speaker. And ye pibanti, and when that nectar flows, those who hear those pastimes, Gada Karanaihi. Gada Karanaihi means with firm ears. Firm ears means with eager ears. Those who hear those pastimes with eager ears, Avitrusho, with insatiable thirst, Nas Prashanti, they will not be touched, Ashanatrit Bhaya Shoka Moha, by hunger, thirst, fear, lamentation and illusion. Because these are the distracting factors. But if one is very eager to hear, one overcomes. As Parikshit Maharaj says, पिबतो अच्युत पीयूषम तद वाक्याब्दि विनिसृतम. My dear Shukadev Goswami, do not worry that I will need some prasadam break or water break. I am fully satisfied by hearing the nectar that is emanating from your mouth. That I am totally satisfied. Don't worry about my eating and drinking. You please keep speaking Krishna Katha because I am feeling so nourished. This is Shravana Vyagra Chetasa, eagerness. So when that eagerness is there, when that appetite is there, then just like when the tawa is really hot, you sprinkle some water, within a second it evaporates. So similarly, when the digestive fire is blazing, whatever you put gets immediately consumed. Similarly, when the eagerness is there, then whatever you hear is completely assimilated, and it immediately transforms into spiritual credits, like that. And then there is Guna Shravanam. This is a verse from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yastu Tama Shloka Gunanuvada Sangiyate Bhikshnamamangalagna Tameva Nityam Shrunuyada Bhikshnam Krishne Malam Bhaktim Abhipsamanaha. Krishne Amalam Bhaktim Abhipsamanaha. One who desires pure devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Shrunuyad, what he should do? He should hear. What he should hear? Uttama Shloka Guna Anuvadaha. Discussions about the glorious qualities of the Supreme Lord. Why? Yastu Abhikshnam Sangiyate. Because the constant chanting of the glories of the Supreme Lord, Amangalagna, it has the potency of destroying everything that is inauspicious. Tameva nityam shrunuyad abhikshnam. Therefore, a devotee should constantly endeavor to hear the glorification of the qualities of the Supreme Lord. So, in this way, the glories of Shravanam, Guna Shravanam, Charitra Shravanam, and Namasmaranam is indicated here. Okay, we have already passed the allotted time, so thank you very much for your patient listening. So this is very appropriate that we are ending with a glorification of the process of hearing. So all glories unto you. We have been discussing for a very long time actually, and I'm very happy that you all have, with very eager ears and insatiable appetite for hearing, you all are hearing these subject matters. Very grateful for this opportunity to share this divine message of Srila Rupa Goswami with all of you. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai, Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.